The giant's origins are unknown, and its historic accounts have perplexed archaeologists and historians throughout the generations. It is supposed to be 1,000 years standing, as there is a 3-figure date between its legs. Some think it was cut by the ancient Britons and that they worshipped it. This is a note from the earliest known survey of the giant. It was sent anonymously to the Royal Magazine in 1763. However, written history cannot prove this date. However, this folklore still surrounds the giant to this date, and many believe it. There may be a reference to the giant in medieval times. You see, there's an account of the hill before it was named Trendle Hill. In medieval times, this hill was seemingly referred to as the hill in which the giant is located, although they never mention the giant itself, so they could have been referring to something else. The hill was named Trendle Hill in the 1600s, and there was probably an abbey at the top of this hill. In Tudor times, they talk of the hill and of the maypole dancing that happened at the top of it. However, there is no mention of a giant, but some suggest that it may have just been overgrown in Tudor times. Proper surveys of the hill were done in 1540 and 1617. These surveys were conducted by the respected John Norden. However, there is no mention of the giant when depicting Trendle Hill. This is strange, as John Norden's surveys are normally very detailed. This is stranger still, as there's evidence of the Uffington White Horse as far back as the 11th century. It's highly unlikely that John Norden would have ignored the giant's existence. The earliest written record of the giant dates to 1694, when St Mary's Church was charged 3 shillings for, and I quote, repairing ye giant. The first observations of the giant were recorded by the Bishop of Bristol, Francis Wise, and William Stukeley in the early 18th century, proving that at this time the giant was on full display. It's highly strange that if the giant is indeed ancient, other observations do not exist. This lends evidence to the giant being a newer creation than we had originally thought. By 1763, the giant was a mainstream sight. It's described in magazines across the whole of the British Isles. Over time, the giant became neglected and overgrown, until its owner, Horace Pitt Rivers, the 6th Baron of the Rivers, ordered the giant repaired in 1868. In his instructions he noted, and I quote, as near possible to its original condition. This being said, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Stonehenge, for example, was first recorded in 1130, but no one credible would suggest that it isn't older. The discrepancies in the historical accounts is what adds to the giant's fame and uniqueness, and some hope that the giant's origins are never found out. While the National Trust and the most accepted theory based on evidence suggests that the giant could have been created during Anglo-Saxon times, and that the giant was forgotten about on and off, most probably because he was overgrown, before Holles renovated the giant and could have possibly added a penis to mock Cromwell, and thus combining the most credible theories. Be sure to check out my other channel, History Sticks, for the complete, longer and comprehensive video.